The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Alpha Media or their station. Now, it's time for Onpoint with Cynthia Hardy, the most talked about, thought-provoking hour in radio. Sponsored by Dominion Energy. Here's your host, Cynthia Hardy.
Hi guys, happy Mother's Day. Good evening and welcome to Onpoint with Cynthia Hardy. It's always a pleasure for you to for you to be with us as we bring you the show. Today we're talking about incarcerated mothers. This week we're shining a light on a group of resilient women who often go unnoticed, and you're looking at them on the screen right now. Incarcerated moms. While many of us celebrate with our loved ones, it's important on Mother's Day to remember that there are mothers, there are women behind bars who are striving to maintain connections with their children despite the barriers that they face. Some people say out of sight, out of mind, and we have to make sure that that's not the case here. Many of these women are not defined solely by their circumstances. They're dedicated individuals who work tirelessly to turn their lives around, preparing for the day when they can reunite with their children. And some of the women that are on with us today have already reunited with their children. So we want to explore their stories, celebrate their strength, and remind the world that every mother, regardless of her situation, deserves to be honored on this special day. So we acknowledge their struggles, their hopes, their incredible love that endures despite the distance. And so thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Avanette, and also thank you, Maisha Bates. Maisha, I'd like for our audience to know that you helped me to produce the show. You made a pitch to me about this kind of story, and everything just fell in place. Mm-hmm. So I thank you for that very, very much, because this is, as you reminded me, a topic that we don't speak enough of. Maisha, why was it important to you for me to stop and pay attention to what you were saying to me?
To let the world know that everyone deserves a second chance. You know, mistakes happen, things happen, but it's what we learn and how we choose to use it from our mistakes.
So Jenny, Brooke, and Candace, when Maisha told you that she wanted you to be on camera for our live stream on our social media platform and also broadcast live on the Big DM across the state of South Carolina, parts of Georgia and North Carolina, what were your thoughts on that? I'll start with you, Jenny.
Well, I was sitting here thinking, my first thought was, I don't want to be on camera and I don't want to talk to anybody on camera. But after a while, I went to thinking, it is a story that needs to be told. It is something that a lot of people don't think about, because most people think, okay, if somebody's in prison, they deserve it and they should spend the rest of their life there. Throw them away. But, you don't hear about the people you meet in prison. A lot of times you meet people in prison that even if they were bad on the outside, when they've come on the inside and they don't have drugs or they don't have some of the influences, you meet the real person, the person that they could have been, the person that they wanted to be, if it hadn't have been for some of the other factors. And it's something that, needs to be talked about, because a lot of people don't think about it.
Candace, what about you? When we talk about this topic, how sensitive is it to you?
Re-entry for me is a big thing. It's actually what I do as a career now. So I was someone that was formerly incarcerated. And with the assistance of Persevere, I was able to get a job at Benedict College. And so I work for the Best Lives Center, and I actually work with people that were formerly and currently incarcerated. And we just work with formerly fostered military. So for me, re-entry is a lifestyle now.
Mm-hmm. So Candace, is it difficult for you when you meet people and they find out about your background? Candace?
No, actually, I think they're more surprised. A lot of times what I get is, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't even look like you were incarcerated. And I'm like, what does incarceration look like? So I think that's a blessing that, people don't see it. But yes, and for me, I was incarcerated for 8.5 years. So to not look look like what I went through is a blessing in itself.
You know, a minute ago, Jenny was talking about that you get to meet the real person without the influences of the people or maybe the anger issues or drug issues and things like that. And so have you shed that skin?
I mean, I really didn't. I have never been in addiction, thank God. I think for me, it was an enlightening. That period allowed me to find me. I have a very close family bond, so not having them allowed me to learn Candace, and I learned what I liked, what I didn't like. I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet.
Good, good. So, Brooke, as you tell me your story, and as we talk about, the length of time that you spent on the inside as well. You're a young woman, and you've got a little boy, and so talk to us a little bit about what this Mother's Day means to you.
Oh man, I'm very recently released. I've been out over 40 days. So it's the first Mother's Day that I've been home in the last 5 years. So it's very important to me. And I feel like every woman that's incarcerated definitely deserves the recognition. They need to be talked about. The word needs to be spread. They're still mothers, no matter where they are. Their families are still missing them, specifically their children. So this is a big one for me.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're sharing part of your time with us today to try to remind people of the value of people that are incarcerated. And of course, the objective is always to do better, to be better, and to live
Yes.
better. And I think I can say that. Avanette Talbert, this is, we've had you on before, and you've been very generous with us, Ms. Talbot, about your background, about the fact that you've served time for a big part of your life, and that you are living now to try to be better, with the things that you're doing. So talk to us, Ms. Talbot, about your incarceration and how it hurt not to be with your children.
So I did 2 federal bids and I did 1 state bid, and this was probably maybe over 17 years ago. And it molded and shaped me. It taught me not to take things for granted. But one thing I can say is I have a different mindset. Um, it- Being around other incarcerated people, the saying that you learn how to be a bigger and better criminal can be true if you take that negatively. Listening to other people's story while I was in prison, it gave me a mindset of not to be judgmental. It taught me that I'm really not any better than anybody else, and that
Mhm.
that place that I was in, I needed to be there. There's no doubt in my mind, had I not have gone to prison, I would not be here today, and I definitely would not be in my right mind. So I'm
Why do you
that one.
say that? Ms. Talbot, why do you say that?
I say that because I had to be set down in
Oh,
order to value Avinet, right? I believe that if I had not been set down and God had not whispered some things in my ear about what was to come, and I was not listening, I would be one of those ones that would be in the revolving door back and forth, back and forth. I would not have learned my lesson. I would not. I
mhm.
know that for a fact. I would not. Because it seems to get easier and easier when you go back and forth. It does. It does.
Mhm.
Because I've been there 3 times.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh, it got to the point where my mother would say to me, well, Abner, is that just where you want to be? She would ask me
Mhm.
that. Like, just tell me, is that just where you want to be? And it didn't, when my mother would say to me, you killing me every time you go back, it didn't resonate with me until God really sat me down and I got some real time. I'm not talking about no 2 or 3 days spent in Alvin S. Glen when Alvin S. Glen was on Hugo Street.
Okay.
I'm talking about when Alvin S. Glen was on Hugo Street, when you had the rats and the roaches and you had to sleep with them. That's the type of time I did. I didn't do the time on the Alvin S. Glen where it is now. I did it when the guards were involved with the females. That's the type of time I'm talking about. And if it had not been for the strong mind that I had, I would have gotten used to that and I would have been a revolving door. But it got to the point where I didn't want to do that no more. That wasn't where I needed to be. And God started whispering some mysteries in my ear. And now I'm a homeowner. Now I own 3 businesses. Now people are giving me chances. And even though it was 20 years ago, that stigma still follows me when it comes to jobs. Let's be honest. When it comes to jobs, they still pull my record up, even though it was over 20 years ago. So it still follows me. However, when I made up my mind that I was going to do better and I was going to be a better parent, because we think about Mother's Day, right? So we think about us being a parent, but I was one of those ones where my mother refused to come see me anytime that I was in prison because it wasn't no reason why I should have been there. So she was like, I'm not coming. And she didn't bring my children to see me either. So she was trying to teach me that type of lesson. So I got it from all different angles because there was no reason why I went down the road that I went down anyway. But it was necessary for me. I'm talking about Avanette. The experience was necessary for me. So every year I give back. Every year I do a feed the community where I cook a huge meal. I rent out a venue. I ask everybody to come. They donate a toy and it goes to the incarcerated mothers. Incarcerated mothers is where those toys go to, and I hand deliver them to the caregivers myself. I have a team. We hand deliver those gifts to the caregivers, to the aunties, to the cousins, to the godmothers, to the next door neighbors that have those children. I'm proud of that. I'm super duper proud of that. I don't want to deal with the men because the men have a lot of different programs that the women don't. There are a lot of different programs for the men that the women are. And you see how everybody's shaking their head because we don't have a lot of programs. So that was a way that I give back every holiday time during Christmas time. And you will be surprised how people donate. They donate to me. They Avanette, can I cook some string beans? Avanette, I'll bring the rolls. Avanette, I'm gonna cook the turkey wings. They do. And we just come together and have a good time. For me, that is the way to give back. I have to pay it forward is my goal is always to pay it forward because I don't want any young woman to be separated from their children like I was. That's what's always in the back of my mind.
Maisha Bates, you know, your heart is huge. I mean, that was the first thing that I saw, you know, on you, you know, when you talk about your program and you talk about what it does and why it's so needed. What led you, Miss Bates, to be in this line of work?
Well, actually, now I'm not the owner or the founder of Persevere. I'm the client advocate. And what led me to start with this work, actually, I had been sick and I was looking for a job. And my mom and my family has always been involved with child welfare and always been involved with mentoring and things like that. So I've always been somewhat of a shepherd. And to be honest, when I first got this job, everyone was like, oh my God, you're going to work at a prison? You're not scared? Like, what? Like, they couldn't believe it. And on my first day of work, I went, the ladies were just everything to me. Okay. One thing I do not do is I do not ask any of my participants what they did. It does not matter. I don't want to know the details of your crimes. It doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is what I can do to help you to move forward. I have a no judgment zone. So when I started this job, it was at first, it was a little hard kind of getting through with the ladies because they had to trust me first.
I imagine, ladies, people come and go, right?
Oh,
absolutely.
Go ahead, Maisha.
I think
they had to
more
trust me.
than people.
Please go
I
ahead.
think more than that, Miss Hardy is. I think more than that, Miss Hardy, is that it. we get told a lot of things and there is no follow through. So to be able to have someone to tell you something and it actually occurs is a big thing,
It's a
because
big
you get
thing.
told so many things in prison. Yes. In prison, you get, and Jenny, I'm sure you can attest to that. We got told a lot of things, and about 99% of them never came true. And so we had the same, thought process when Miss Bates came in. And when she actually started doing what she said she was going to do, I was like, oh, she's for real. So and Miss Bates and I have a great bond to this day because of that.
Oftentimes populations say that, they oftentimes say that people come through and make a lot of commitments and without the follow through. So you get your hopes up. But I'm interested in this piece that we're talking about when we're saying that there are not enough programs or there are not a lot of programs. And Jenny, you were shaking your head up and down, and so were you, Brooke. Well, all of you were. So talk to me about how the significance of feeling like, I would feel almost hopeless if I felt like I was someplace and I wanted to go from there to a better place, but there was no guidance and no assistance to do that. That would be incredibly frustrating. And I
which
imagine it
is,
has been for you all.
which is why you have the revolving door, because there aren't any resources. You have to be super duper, almost a superwoman to number one, find out who you are, even if you're in prison, to find out who you are, stand on that, and then go forward with no help, with no help. Because there aren't a lot of programs. When I was in prison, when, and I don't know about now, but I think it's a lot better now. I was in Alvin S. Glenn when you didn't have underwear, like they weren't giving underwear and bras out then. So that was tough, right? So I had to make it work. And I often say this because it's a part of my story. Can you imagine only having one or two pair underwear? And what do you do when your cycle comes on?
Oh my.
You got to make that work. Right. So that's the era that I came from. I believe it's a little different now. So that was something that I was determined to do. I was determined to start a program where I could send underwear into the prisons. That was something I was determined to do. And that's what I started doing when I came out, because listen, just because I'm incarcerated, I still want to feel clean. I still want to feel like a woman. Right? Maybe not a lady, but I want to feel like a woman. I still want to feel clean. I still want to feel fresh. And I think sometimes we take those things for granted on the outside. We take it for granted. So when you have these people that are coming in that are talking about these programs and they aren't following up and they're giving you these pipe dreams, and then you get out and you're like, what's next? And those people aren't there to pour into you. They aren't there with the resources. Now you got to figure this thing out. And if you don't have a support system or family or programs, how you going to figure it out? What you going to do? You're going to go back to what you know.
That's right. And that's what happens. You're listening to On Point with Cynthia Hardy. Incarcerated Mothers. We are talking to a group of formerly incarcerated women, and we're talking about the significance of Mother's Day and how they've been able to work really hard to find a different person inside of them than before they were incarcerated. We love celebrating the success stories, and we want to hear from you guys too. Go to our thread and leave your comments there on any of our social media platforms. You're listening to On Point with Cynthia Hardy. We're talking about incarcerated moms. We'll be right back.
Energy, that quiet force behind every chore, every comfort, every little joy. It's your energy that matters most of all. At Dominion Energy, we're not just an energy partner, we're your energy partner, helping you get the most from the power you use through tools, tips, and programs that make saving energy easier, not harder, so you can spend less time thinking about your power and more time enjoying what it powers. Get started at dominionenergy.com/savings.
Carolina Hair Studios, the best place in town you can go to get your hair done. Nails and toes, a gentle touch, reliable, professional, and always on time to care for your beauty needs. We even keep the men on fleek. And ladies, don't you worry about no weave. Sit back and watch as I roll up my sleeve.
Carolina Hair Studios, now accepting appointments at carolinahairstudios.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to On Point with Cynthia Hardy, our special Mother's Day edition today. We're talking to formerly incarcerated women, and we're talking about the fact that there's so many women who are behind bars, who are serving time on Mother's Day, and many of them are or have, done things to try to at least let their kids know that they're thinking about them on this Mother's Day, but it's got to be tough. So Maisha Bates, again, thank you for helping us to produce this show today. As I look at Jenny and Brooke and Candace, I know they came through your Perseverance program. And I want you to tell me what, from your perspective, a little bit about each one and why you were impressed with what they do.
I'm impressed with all of my ladies. I'm impressed with their persistence.
I think you're made for this work, Miss Bates. I think you're made for this.
I think so. Sometimes I think I am, but to be honest with you, Miss Hardy, after I started to work with my ladies, I really learned that I needed them more than they needed me.
That's a beautiful thing.
I did.
That's a beautiful thing. I get it. I really do.
They are such an inspiration because they don't stop.
What do you mean?
Okay? They don't stop. If they want something, if they want to accomplish something, they're going to do it. They are going to do it. A lot of the ladies, when they come to our class, they don't even know how to use a mouse. They don't know how to get on a computer. And for 12 months, they come to our class 6 to 7 hours a day and learn how to do computer coding. So when they go home, they can build websites.
Did you say computer coding?
Computer coding. Yes, ma'am. Computer coding.
They can build websites. Big time job. That's a big time job.
Absolutely. They can build websites. They can build apps. Okay.
Look at them shaking their head up and down. Yeah, we can do that. That's awesome.
They can do it. They can do it all. And their determination is what keeps me going.
Well, tell me a little bit about each one. Tell me a little bit about each one from your perspective. Tell me about Jenny Hunt.
Jenny Hunt, listen.
Oh, wow.
Jenny Hunt is the one that's going to keep you on your toes. Okay. She's very opinionated and she's going to tell you exactly how she feels. If you are not doing right, she is going to let you know. Okay. If she said that, if I tell her tomorrow I'm coming in here at 5:00, Jenny, and I'm going to have a list of colors for you, I'm expected to be there at 5:00 with that list of colors.
I see.
Okay. My ladies taught me organization. Before I was all over the place. I really was. But because they held me accountable, and then I had to also learn that for them, their life was in my hands almost. I had a lot to do.
Their life after prison.
Yes, that life after prison, that was there. And with Jenny, she was very, very adamant to get into this program called Next Chapter. Okay. Next Chapter is a very rigorous coding program where a lot of people do not get in. Most people do not get in. Jenny got home. Jenny got in. Oh, Jenny got home. And within 2 weeks that she was home, Jenny had her laptop set up. Jenny was calling me, Miss Bates, I need a mock interview. Miss Bates, can you get me in contact with our instructor? Because I have to learn more. I have to get ready for coding. She was ready. Okay. Not only that, but she was ready to be back at home again with her baby. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jenny picked it up like she had never left.
Jenny, did that break your heart? Did that break your heart separating from your baby the way you had to?
Yes, of course. Any real mother, I say real mother, because some people can be away from their kids and be fine. But for the most of us, that bond is hard to break. To
Yeah.
just to know it's hard.
It is hard, but you're there this year.
Mhm.
That feels great to you. I know it does. I know that's what's behind the emotion right now. The regret of not being there, but the joy of being able to be there this year. And I feel great. I feel great for you for that. And, I would imagine that the tears flow freely. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with emoting or being, or showing your emotions. I typically do myself because it's a release. And I imagine it feels good to feel something, so significant and so important. Tell me about Brooke, Maisha.
So Brooke, listen, if Brooke calls me every day.
Every day?
She texts me every day.
Every
And
day,
if I miss
Brooke?
a day, she'll say, Miss Bates, I was wondering where
Every
you
day.
was. Every day. Every day. She come looking for Miss Bates. I was wondering where you was. You didn't text me yesterday. Where you was at? What you doing? And for Brooke, I was very, very proud of her because Brooke is one of those ones who she's a fast talker, okay? So
She
sometimes
got
I
a little
always tell
game.
Brooke, I tell
Maisha doesn't. Brooke, you got a little game. You got game. Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. And before she left the prison, I got on her real bad. Real bad. I don't want to see you here again. I'm watching you. She is in a program called Jumpstart. And I had to put my mama mode on. And I said, don't have them people calling me about you. Don't do it.
Well, Brooke, how you doing, Brooke?
I'm
She's doing
doing
amazing.
amazing.
She's
It's
killing it.
more than I could have ever imagined. Just the outreach and the help and support that they provided at Jumpstart. I just can't say thanks enough for that.
Tell me about it. Are you a
So the
coder? Is
first,
that what you're looking forward to? And do you like have a talent for that?
Well, Jumpstart is a
I would say,
transitional house that she's in.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Brooke.
yeah, I would say that I picked up coding pretty quickly. I think that your mind definitely has to think different and work different to be able to excel in one of those. So I'm extremely proud of Jenny. She is literally one in a million. She is very smart minded and big minded. I am more of an active person, so I don't really see myself. But I was very thankful to be a part of the program. And coding, to me, the boot camp was deeper than learning about computers. Like Persevere was just a place that we really built connections with other women. And I used to not be a woman that was interested in even having a relationship with other females. So just being able to have that support with other women striving to do the same thing that I was doing, that was just encouraging in itself. And I'm so thankful for the people that I met, for Miss Bates, for every connection that was built through the program.
Mm. How do you feel about spending Mother's Day with your family this year?
Oh wow, it's a little overwhelming. I gotten pretty well at coping with my own pain, but it's another pain to cause your child pain. So just knowing that this year I don't have to put him through that, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does he cling to you?
Yes. He's very detached from everyone else, but he is definitely a mama's boy.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
great. That's really great. Maisha, you have such good stories to tell about your ladies and about your program. And so Candace is very proud to be out working and making a difference in the lives of other people. Could you see that when you first met her, Miss Banks?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could see it. Candace will come to me before I could even sit down at work with a notepad of things that she had that she needed me to do for her.
Oh,
Okay.
Candace,
She had a
what types of
checklist.
things? Candace, what types of things?
Um, Everything from different jobs, insurance, everything. Honestly,
License.
like I believe in the whole Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. So I literally wrote out
Yes.
everything And if I would think about it, I would give it to Miss Bates and say, "Hey, can you help me with this? I need this. I don't understand this." So
Miss Bates, well, let me just say to the ladies, it feels like Miss Bates became your lifeline. And it feels like
She's a
that's why
very
you were clamoring.
resourceful woman.
Say that again.
She's a very resourceful woman. She
Mm-hmm.
knows everybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's definitely a networker. She's not
Yes.
scared. She'll walk right on up to you and tell you what she needs you to do. You know, don't you just love that about people, though? You know, because nothing ever gets done unless you have that. You know,
Yes.
you want,
Initiative.
and I just love seeing this coalition of women helping women. Avanette, what you think about that? Because I think that's important, and I love what you said about, you know, without these types of efforts, then you do see incarceration as a revolving door. You know, I think that that is the case. It saddens me to know that it's an afterthought for a number of people to make sure that our women's institutions have these social programs so that they can get out and so that they do have more job skills. Miss Talbert, somebody taught you something, Miss Talbert, with your businesses and
Yes,
stuff.
they did. They did. But you know, the word just says you have not because you ask not. So she was
Yes,
coming up to
ma'am.
you, Miss Bates, because she needed something, right? So
That's
she had
right.
to ask for that thing. She asked for it and it came to pass.
Miss
But I am
Alvarez, Miss Alvarez got to a point where she would come to my desk, and before she and I really connected, I would think to myself, "Here she come again."
Here she come again.
but I have to
to my
say, ladies,
defense, I was out for a while.
Oh, so
To
you
my
felt like
defense, I
you had to
was
catch
out for
up,
a
Miss
while, Miss
Beasley.
Hardy.
you had to
I
catch up.
did. I actually had a medical emergency, and so I was gone for like 3 months. And
Okay.
I was hospitalized for 3 months during that program, and I made it my life's goal to finish on time. Jenny and I were in the same cohort, so I was like, I'm finishing this thing. I'm graduating with my class, and I won't accept nothing under an A. And so
Oh,
literally, I would go
really?
in before class. I would go in after class. Jenny would come and sit with me and be like, "Okay, Candace, this is how this goes and that goes." You know, our the ladies, they really came together and we became a family through Persevere. And when I tell you they helped me get dressed because I wasn't taking no for an answer. I was going to go to class. You know, they found a pillow for me to sit down on during class so I could just stay there all day. They would help me with food. They helped me carry my canteen. It was that. But we were all determined that I was gonna graduate with them.
I think that's about another testament to the programs because I think we clung so much to this
Hmm.
program because it wasn't like just like any other program that they gave us, where it was going to last one class and then disappear, or there's nothing that can come out of it. This program, we knew that with these skills, we can make something of ourselves when we left out in a career that didn't discriminate based off if we were a felon or not. We knew that this was something that was going to help us. And when we went to class, we weren't in prison. So that all day while we were in class, we weren't in prison. We were in our work job.
Mm-mm.
We were learning skills for our
And
work.
that's how they
So
made
we
it
took it
feel.
that way. So we
And
took
that's
it.
how they made it feel?
Yes. When you come in
Yes.
there, we told each other
We went to
Deb,
work every
whatever their
day.
last name was. It was work. So when we got off,
Mm-hmm.
we're tired. We would still hang out with each other, help each other with stuff afterwards. Like our first cohort, we were on a building with a whole bunch of people, but you could tell like everybody would be like, "There's those coders," because we were always together and we were always talking about stuff that nobody understood because it doesn't make sense until you
It's a
start.
different language.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't
I'm ex-
Mm-hmm.
understand it either.
I'm excited that I'm just listen, y'all don't I am excited that there are finally some programs and some resources for some women when they come home so that they can be successful, right? Because if you don't listen, if you don't feel good about yourself, it's a revolving door. And
Mm-hmm.
being out, being amongst people,
Mm-hmm.
doing something productive makes you feel good about yourself when you're in that so-called dark place. For me, prison was not a dark place. It was a necessary ending for me. I can't speak to anybody, but for me, it was a necessary ending. So though I'm so glad to hear that it is evolving. Now, it's still prison, yes. It's still a time to reflect, absolutely. It's still a time to be accountable, absolutely. But we no longer have to feel stuck, right? I think as women, so many times we get stuck in a moment when it's only supposed to be a moment, right? And then we want to get out that moment, and we've been stuck so long till we don't know how to get out of it. So we just stay there. We just kind of lie there because we don't know what else to do. But when you have a support system and you have programs to look forward to, it's a little bit more difficult to get stuck then. Now you have something to look forward to. So I'm elated. And if I can help any type of way, Mrs. Bates, please let me know, because I know some people too. So,
You know some
just let
people
me know.
too.
I do.
Miss
I know
Tolbert,
Some
some
of
we
the
people.
need
people
to
that
hook
you know,
up.
Miss Talbert, is the reason that I know you, because some of the
That's
people
right,
you
because
know
I
reached
know
out
some
to me
people.
about you.
Absolutely. And
And so,
I love when people say, um, you don't look like you've been in prison. And I say the same thing, like, well, what do people look like that go to prison? I love it. I love the shock on their face. I love it. I live for it.
you
Miss
live
Cynthia, I live
for it.
for it. I live for it because we got to get out of this stigma of what we think people look like. We got to get
Or
rid
the
of that.
type of person that it
The
is.
type of person, because who I was 20, 30 years ago, I'm not that person now. Right. So how I looked back then, you still wouldn't have known of how I looked. So I love it when people say, you in prison. I say 3 times. Signs, miracles, and wonders, baby. Signs, miracles, and wonders is what I want. Listen. So I love it. I love the fact that women can come together, support one another, and keep it moving. Let's not get stuck, ladies. It was just a season. That's all it was. It was just a season.
It was just a season. And for some of my ladies, when I talk to them,
And
they
Miss
say,
Hardy, I
what
agree with
they,
Miss Tolbert on that. That's the reason why I went to the Best Lives Center, is because they actually have what they call wraparound services. In prison, you don't really get to know what all resources you have. Like, they always tell you there's resources, but they don't tell you where they are or
I
what
got
they
you.
are. And so literally I've had the opportunity to go back into Camille and to Goodman and to share the resources. Like, Benedict helps pay for skills and trades. We do resume site, like
If
it,
we
all
could
these
mute Miss
services.
Beasley. Miss Beasley, we're going to try to work on your technology in the next break, because you're running behind and it's breaking up really bad. Go ahead and pick up the conversation, Miss Bates.
Okay. So one of the best things about Persevere too is that we help the ladies once they get home as well. So we follow them for 1 year. We provide them with wrap services. I navigate every resource that I can throughout South Carolina for
So do
them.
you call on other people in the community and ask them for
Absolutely.
resources too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The same way that I approached you, I approach anybody about them.
Well, I
Whatever it
think
is.
it's important because there are a lot of support for what it is that you're doing. We
Yes.
recognize that there is a big portion of our community that is locked up or has been locked up. And we recognize, because these are valuable people in our community that are locked up, that we want to come back. And when they come back, we want them to come back whole. We want them to come back, where if they desire to do something different, that they actually can, and that there are resources. And most times it's just the way you did it with me, Miss Bates. It's who you know, it's who I know, it's who you know, and it's all of us kind of helping all of us. And I got to tell you, it works. It really does work.
When you come together for the common good, it works. And one of the things that makes me most proud is when I see my women walking in the path that they wanted.
It's emotional for
That
you
makes me so
too.
proud. Oh, that's so emotional. When
Okay.
Candace first got her job at Benedict, it was amazing
I hope
because
we can
she and
fix her technology, because she has a
I
powerful
she has to come back
testimony.
because listen, it was so powerful with her working at Benedict because me and her were sitting at the same table representing our agencies.
Really? So
To
in
have
that
her,
moment, she was your peer.
she was my peer.
Look
To
at
have her
God.
sitting at the same table as me.
Amen.
And I tell my ladies, I want you to do better than me. Start those tech companies. Let me be your assistant. Hire me. Tell me what you want me to do. What can I do to get you to where you need to be? And they know that when it comes to them, I'll walk on water.
Oh
I
my
promise
gosh.
you. They know it.
Anybody have a comment before we go to break? All right, you're listening to On Point with Cynthia Hardy. We're talking about incarcerated mothers. Happy Mother's Day to everybody that's out there. And to be able to talk to women who are spending Mother's Day with their children the first time in a very long time is a real powerful thing. And also to listen to women like you, Avanette, you know, who recognize that there's a better way, and the encouragement that you seem to give to others, you know, in this space, especially, you know, since since you've been in this way. And I would imagine, I want to hear about it when we come back. I would imagine you developed your businesses because it was difficult to get employment, and you wanted, you know, to live a certain lifestyle, and you wanted to earn a certain amount of money. And so you turned to yourself and figured out ways that you could make it work on your own. And I just think that is so powerful. We'll be right back, guys. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. We're talking to formerly incarcerated women, and this is a population that we do not need to forget. We'll be right back.
You've got the power to take control of how your energy works for you, the power to make your home more efficient, the power to use less energy without giving up comfort. And we're here to help you use that power your way. Tools, tips, and programs make managing your bills and living an energy-efficient life easier than ever. And you've got the power to choose what works best for you. Get started at dominionenergy.com/savings.
Carolina Hair Studios, the best place in town you can go to get your hair done. Nails and toes, a gentle touch, reliable, professional, and always on time. To care for your beauty needs, we even keep the men on fleek. And ladies, don't you worry about no weave. Sit back and watch as I roll up my sleeve.
Carolina Hair Studios now accepting appointments at carolinahairstudios.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to On Point with Cynthia Hardy, talking to formerly incarcerated women about the significance of being with their children on Mother's Day and the difficulty before. Brooke, you had a question for Ms. Tolbert.
Yeah, Miss Tolbert, as an aspiring businesswoman, I would just love for you to talk about your businesses.
You would ask me that, wouldn't you, bro? Okay. So listen, when my story is very simple. When I came home from prison, I did get a job. I worked for Staples. I worked for them for 12 years. I was on parole. So, and how God got me in Staples was only him. He knew that he was setting me up for who I am right now, right? So every month I would take my lunch break and I would go down to Gregg Street and I would report and then I would come back, right? But there was somebody at Staples that knew that I was in the entertainment world. So they went to HR to ask HR if I could start doing rewards and recognition for this ceremony that we had for the employees every 3 months. And so the rewards and recognition turned into a 12-year career at Staples, where every quarter I would put on this huge production. I would go in the community, I would get choirs, I would get impersonators, I would get singers, I put on plays, all of it. I had no idea that that was setting me up for the modeling agency that I own right now. I had no idea about that. I sound like this because I just got back from Cozumel on Wednesday. I did a huge fashion showcase on the sea, on the boat while we were cruising to Cozumel. I own a travel business as well, Liberty Adventures and Travel, right? So I'm a one-stop shop. But I had no idea that God was setting me up those 12 years for that production to put on this production that I put on a cruise ship every year. I'm a designer, I'm a stylist as well. So I just earned a spot in Africa, Nigeria Fashion Week in December. I own a couple of Airbnbs in Nigeria. I own some driver services in Ghana. Yeah. So I had no clue that God was setting me up. That's why I tell you, ladies, it's working for your good. That thing
Won't he do
is
it?
working for your good. Now, for those
Yeah.
that don't know how to determine their purpose, get a piece of paper. Write some things down that you love to do. That thing that gets that well in your throat, that thing that causes you to cry, that thing that you can't get your eyes off of when you writing it down, that's the thing that you're supposed to be doing. That right there is what you're supposed to be doing. Step out and let God do the rest. That's all you got. Step out. Get out the boat, Peter. That's all you get out the boat. That's all you got to do.
I just read that book last week.
And he will do the rest. I am a product of him doing the rest. He will do the rest. Yes, he will.
You know, I'm just so proud looking at you guys and listening. You sound so empowered. You look so empowered. Got to make sure that all of you all are a part of Women's Empowerment coming up on August 16th. I really want you all to be with so many of the other empowering women that are a part of our event, our Alpha Media event. It's an empowering. And I tell you what, ladies, and you guys are inspirational to others. And just like Miss Talbert and you too, Miss Beasley, you know, people are like, you were incarcerated, you're working this professional job. No, you weren't. It's a lot of people walking amongst us that are the same, okay? They are. And so, you know, rather than cast aspersions or pass judgment, what we really need to be doing is learning from their stories and also showing the successes. We do a really good job of showing people's failures, but we really do have to do a better job of showing people's successes. And so we're at the point in the show where it's time, just as you all have gotten over your butterflies in your stomach about being on the show, it's time to wind down and give me your closing comments. Ms. Beasley, we were having a little bit of technical difficulty. We had to let you go, but Ms. Bates was bragging about the fact that she was presenting for her organization, and there next to her was you presenting for Benedict College. So it's like full circle, you know, which is just powerful. And so I want to get closing comments. We'll start with Candace, then Brooke, then Jenny, then Miss Talbert, and then we'll end with you, Miss Bates. And thank you, Candace, for being with us today.
No, thank you, Miss Hardy, for the opportunity. Thank you so much. I don't think that our stories get told enough. So I am amazed every day that, you know, I was chosen to do this, being able to go to conferences and to speak on behalf, like going to reentry panels and you know, just sharing resources and being, I call myself a hope dealer because I give hope to women.
I love it.
Yes, ma'am. Because I give hope to the women that were in there. You know, being able to go back and it was like a herd of cattle that came, you know, and descended upon us. And they were like, Candace, this warms my soul. Like it made me so happy. I was nervous because I was scared, you know, that I would, of the emotions that I would feel having to leave the women in Camille. And they were just so excited to see somebody be a success story and be able to come back in and tell their story.
I love
so
it.
They have been asking for us to come back. So
Of course.
Benedict is trying to work out workshops and just all kinds of things to bring into the ladies, to bring more resources, you know, being able to tell them what I can do for them and what I can't, or who they can go to, was just a blessing because I didn't have that. So to be able to provide that for somebody else was just, it was overwhelming. It was amazing. It was awesome. And I just count myself blessed every day to work and to be able to work for Best Lives Center and to work for Benedict. And I don't even think Miss Bates had mentioned it. I got asked to be on the board for a group called Beauty Marks for Girls. And they're an organization who deals with daughters of incarcerated mothers. And so to be asked to be on that board, I was like, Lord, thank you. This is even more in my role. So
Absolutely.
it's
And we appreciate so much, Miss Beasley, your being with us today. And we love seeing your success and congratulations. Brooke, your
thank you.
close? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to share a question that was asked to me from my community supervisions officer. She asked if I thought my sentence was fair, and I just responded that I thought my sentence was very necessary. I was definitely in the right mindset to receive the blessings in the direction that God wanted to use me for, and I just can't thank Him enough for the work that He's allowed me to do through Him and through my sentence.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Miss Jenny Hunt.
I would like to agree with Brooke and Miss Talbert. Prison, I wasn't expecting it. I had never gotten in trouble before my prison sentence, but I learned and grew so much through that prison sentence. I was, just like Miss Talbert had said, I was stuck in that position where I was by myself. At home, I had everybody else's problems to deal with, everybody else to fix. And then when I first come to prison, the hardest part was having to learn myself and actually deal with the issues that I had pushed to the side to work on everybody else. So through that time, I also, like Candace said, I learned who I was. I become stronger. I become more humble. I was non-judgmental because no matter what everybody done, it doesn't matter what you done in prison because we all ended up in the same spot.
I got
No
you.
matter what the crime, no matter how big or small, we ended up in the same spot. And through that, I'm glad that I took the opportunity to grow and learn myself and build myself into a stronger woman rather than taking any other path. So I can say I wasn't excited about going to prison, just like nobody is. But through that, I found myself, and I'm a stronger woman because of that.
Jenny Hunt, thank you for being so candid today on the show with us. Avinette, we're running out of time, but give us your close.
My close is just to encourage the ladies to know that you are enough. That's it. You are enough. When you learn to be you, you walk in the room and just be you. That's all you got to do. Just show up. And when you show up, the people that love you, when the people that love you will love you, and the people that don't. And you got to be okay with either one. So I just want you to just know that you are enough.
Ms. Talbert, we just always appreciate having you on the show. Thank you for bringing your sunshine and your inspiration and all of that. It's always a message that our community needs to hear. And so thank you for allowing me to feature you on my platform. Maisha Bates, look at all this stuff you did, girl. You put all this together. Look at you. Thank you, Ms. Bates.
I love it. I love it. I love the energy that you ladies are bringing. I love to hear about the goals that you guys are checking off your list. All I ask is that our community be empathetic. Show empathy.
Say that again, Ms. Bates. Say that again. I stepped on you.
Be empathetic. Be empathetic. We ask that everyone shows empathy. You never know what a person is going through. You never know what a person has going on in their head. So please just show empathy. Be forgiving. And allow second chances.
Happy Mother's Day to each one of you. And happy Mother's Day to all the women out there. And even for those of you all who, like me, never birthed a child, but certainly do have so many people that you have close connections and close relationships with, and you care about how they turn out. So you nurture them and you do those maternal things that we as women do. So happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. I want to thank the team that I work with, Celeste Cannon, Dexter Stroman, Dr. France Jackson, Nita Brown. Thank you so much. And I want to say a shout out to Marnie Robinson and Dr. Macy Smith. Also you too, David Pendergrass, for all that you guys do to continue to support our show. We know when we provide information like this, it doesn't just inform, but it also empowers. Informed, empowered, and on point. We're going to see you guys next week. Thank you all.
You've been listening to On Point with Cynthia Hardy. To contact us or email your comments, log on to onpointwithcynthia.com. Onpointwithcynthia.com. On Point, only on 101.3 The Big DM.